here's Brody Brazil.
The temperature and the tension right now are definitely growing surrounding a potential brand new arena for the Spurs in San Antonio. That's where on Thursday they're expected to take a vote whether or not to move forward with a term sheet between the team and the city and laying out the plans for what they would expect in this brand new NBA venue. Now, all of this is part of a bigger thing called Project Marvel, but certainly this arena, this home for the Spurs, would be the backbone. It is a critical piece of Project Marvel. More on the Spurs arena, what they want, and why the mayor really wants to hit the pause button in just a second. Let me explain Project Marvel. Been in the works now for basically a year. It was revealed in November of 2024. Approvals took place in May of 2025, obviously just a few months ago. It's not totally signed off and set to be delivered, but they're expecting a total cost of about $4 billion for this project. The build-out anywhere between 5 and 15 years. This includes the new arena for the Spurs, a new entertainment venue like an indoor concert hall, the expanded convention center, a new hotel, and a land bridge to take you across the road where there would definitely be some upgrades to the Alamo Dome, which, by the way, is a totally separate story here. I've done a video on that. Upgrading the Alamo Dome simply for things like March Madness and the NCAA Final Four. They don't have an NFL team there. They don't have a Major League Baseball team there. Is it really prudent to fix up the Alamo Dome here and now? But I digress. That's a separate conversation. That's not the critical controversy here, but it's important you realize this is all part of a bigger picture of what they're trying to do in San Antonio. They're trying to get all of this to come together within the next decade or so. It's coming at some hefty prices and costs, but certainly the most value would be keeping the Spurs in San Antonio and getting a brand new indoor arena right downtown in the heart of the city, right by the Riverwalk. There is some obvious benefits to all of this if San Antonio can swing it. In terms of the Spurs' new arena alone, let's talk about that now. $1.3 billion is the estimated cost. The team is paying the biggest piece of the pie, $500 million plus overruns coming from the Spurs. And you'd have to imagine, if it really is going to take 50-something months of construction to put up this arena, then yes, inflation alone is going to produce some overruns that the team is responsible for. City of San Antonio, they're on the hook for $489 million. Bexar County is on the hook for $311 million. And again, all of this with the term sheet is going to be decided one way or another. A yes vote means they're moving forward with this non-binding, by the way, non-binding term sheet, or the no vote means that they're going to hesitate. They're going to take some more time. It doesn't mean it's a no forever, but it is going to delay this process. It is going to likely delay a vote in November where the county would vote on their contribution or not. So all of this could delay the Spurs' new arena by at least a year. So some more details on this term sheet put out by the Spurs. Again, this is something they thought was pretty much said and done. They've been working on this since May with the city of San Antonio to try and fine-tune it to get it where everybody would pass it with the vote. Seems like the city council is in. The mayor is the one with the most resistance. More on her opinion in just a second. It's a $2.1 billion all-in commitment, the Spurs are calling it, everything included, with obviously the rent that they'll be paying to the city. That rent and the lease they would start off with is $4 million per year. It goes up like 2% per year. It's a 30-year term on that lease. There's also a $75 million community benefits package to the Spurs, or from the Spurs to the community across 30 years. And the Spurs also want you to know that there's a financing structure here from the public side which doesn't rely on property taxes nor sales taxes, and that there is no money diverted from the city's general fund. It's one of those deals where taxes collected on the site from the increased revenue of the arena and the property, and that alone over time is going to pay for the cost of construction here. It's one of those situations, but there are still some obvious reservations. Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones took office in June, right? So she's relatively new to this role in San Antonio, and perhaps it's as simple as this. She doesn't want to jump in midstream, have something already approved, and if it doesn't work, her name is attached to this forever. She's joining this process as mayor I wouldn't even say midstream. Like, if it really was decided, this term sheet, if it really has been out there between city council members and the Spurs since May, and she only took office in June, of course she's been privy to what's going on. But as for the role of mayor, maybe she does not want this on her watch without all of the proper research and deliberations. She wants to delay this vote until after an independent economic impact study is done. She wants this gone over by professionals, by experts who have no ties to the city nor any ties to the Spurs. Her comments, and she's made a few, she's been very passionate and, invested in delaying this vote. One of the quotes said, "This is not a hard ask, right? I think I've been very clear that I want the Spurs here. I want a good deal, and I think we can confidently, work with the community if we have confidence in the data." She also inquired at one point, to make this deal even sweeter for the city of San Antonio, about revenue sharing with the team. Obviously, the team has no interest in that. I can also tell you that revenue sharing with any professional sports team is difficult because they don't exactly open up the books. And if they are revenue sharing with you, they would have to open up their financials to an entity like the city of San Antonio. That makes it very difficult. But again, I read you the quote from Mayor Ortiz Jones. I want you to hear what she's saying about this in her own words.
Spurs fans are so disenfranchised. How it's gone up, how these negotiations have gone up until this point has left such a bad taste in their mouth. Spurs fans are saying, on principle, I love the Spurs, but on principle, I will vote against this in November if something doesn't change. So I think we owe the people and this independent economic impact study and the community engagement, I think that actually will help us bring people along and have the confidence that they need to vote in November. I think this actually helps us. It doesn't delay anything. I think once people have the benefit of this information, people will, I think, gladly vote in November, but not if they feel like something has been rushed, not if they feel like something has been pushed down their throats, especially as, again, they can drive throughout many parts of our community, in particular the East Side, where too many broken promises have shown us why we need to do our due diligence this time.
I mean, it's hard to argue against that from a sensible and logistical standpoint. I would say that so long as you could guarantee that this independent economic analysis was well completed by November, then at least you're not holding anything up here. You're saying we can't approve this now, but we will maybe, by mid-October. That would give you several weeks for the public to then vote for the county's contribution. It would not hold up anything. If the mayor's perspective is, hey, we can still fit all this in, we can still maintain the timeline and do the analysis, then what is there to argue? But I think the worry is, if they do the analysis, number one, well, it could come up bad. But wouldn't that be a good thing to find out it came up bad or it came up unexpected? I understand that anybody opposing this arena or public funds is going to have some resistance to it anyway. They're going to jump on this momentum. But the point is, so long as she could guarantee that none of this actually delays kind of what would happen if they approved it, if none of that would delay the timeline, then there's really not much you can say in opposition. But the city council is going to get this vote. There's 11 city council members, and there's two resolutions on the table here. Number one, either adopt this non-binding term sheet agreement with the Spurs, which has been worked on for several months now, or engage in this strategic pause to conduct that economic analysis. That's the decision. We're going to find out on Thursday what San Antonio is going to do about this. In terms of the Spurs' urgency, are they trying to pull a fast one? Are they trying to sneak something through? I don't think it's that nefarious. I think the team, in their perspective, they had believed approvals were just a formality. They've been working on this with city council members. All of a sudden, you get a new mayor who doesn't feel the same way. She's imposing that platform and that role as she's obligated to do, and turns out it's making the process a lot more difficult. In November, I mentioned that Bayard County is going to have to approve this $311 million with a public vote. So you need to have your ducks lined up in a row. Like, you need this term sheet laid out so that voters from the county side can get one more approval done in November. Otherwise, you're waiting for another election cycle. The new arena, they say, is expected to take 57 months to be ready. That can't be right. But when you look at it, ready for the 2032-33 season, well, the Spurs' current lease at the Frost Center, just a few miles east, that expires in 2032. So there is plenty of time really built in here for the Spurs to get a new arena, have even some months or maybe years of like fudge factor where there's some extra time built in. It does not take 57 months to build an indoor 18,000-seat sporting venue. It doesn't take that long. And it wouldn't take that long here, but they're saying that they're building in all that runway, all that extra time, because their lease doesn't end. So on one hand, do I understand the Spurs' urgency? Like they've got some momentum, they've got people talking about this, they don't want to delay Project Marvel. I get it. But maybe they should be open a little bit to the guarantee if, hey, the independent analysis, it's not going to go past October. You can have your vote. If everybody likes the analysis, you can still have your vote in November. Again, what is there to disagree with? But nobody is guaranteeing that analysis, again, will be good or it will be done by a certain time. There's the Frost Bank Center east of downtown San Antonio, and right by the Riverwalk is where all of this is going. So look, it would bring the Spurs closer to downtown, closer to the core. All of this should be good for San Antonio if they can actually make it happen. Here are my takeaways. Beginning with this, shouldn't big decisions take proper time? Are we really getting mad? And if you disagree with the mayor here, what's your opposition? You don't like to think about a big decision? Take something in your life that costs a lot of money or has some huge ramifications. You probably want some time, proper time, to figure this out in your head. And this is a big deal for San Antonio to the tune of, billions of dollars and the backbone of a maybe $5 billion Project Marvel. You got to get this right. So for us to sit here and say, well, you don't have another week or two to figure this out. We've been working on this for months. Yeah, but this is a generational decision. So again, even if it did delay the Spurs by a year, so long as their numbers are good, so long as the proposal they've got makes sense, then they don't have much to worry about. And I get it. You're not going to have this move as fast as you want, but it could still move. We're also talking about replacing a 23-year NBA venue, 23-year-old NBA venue in Frost Center. Is that right, or is it a little bit older than that? The bottom line is, here's another arena that didn't even get to 35 years old, and it's being replaced. Now, in this case, it's all about location and real estate and something better, like this is probably the Spurs' forever home, closer to downtown. But yeah, it does seem kind of wasteful in our society that we're doing this once again. Location is everything. If that's the difference here, then I guess that's the difference. But why did they build the Frost Center way out in the middle of nowhere? If they didn't have to, back in the late 90s and turn of the century around 2000. The 5-year arena build, I'm telling you right now, if the Spurs are in for $500 million, you can tack on another $250 to them at least because of overruns, because of inflation, because of the next 5 years. Everything's going to be more expensive in 5 years than it absolutely is right now. So this pivotal vote goes down on Thursday. City Council is either going to move forward, and it does sound like City Council members of the majority of the 11 who are voting, they're largely for this. The mayor is largely against this, like I spelled out. Can the mayor influence anybody? Will cooler heads prevail? Will they move forward with this? Does that matter? It all remains to be seen, but it's definitely something interesting. Will the Spurs take one step closer, or are we doing this strategic pause? Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would love to see you back here next time.